Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is JGOD. In today's video, we're going to talk about the best class setup for the VAPR XKG after the 1.13 update. In addition to that, I'll be showing off a little bit of the strip reactive camo, which can be unlocked at tier 60 in the brand new contraband system. And if you watch one of my recent videos, I want to give you a quick update. We've moved the needle from 90% of people that were watching my content on a regular basis not being subscribed down to 68%. So I do appreciate the support you guys have been showing, especially recently. So for the strip reactive camo, everyone's going to have access to this particular content because it's part of the Grand Heist operation. It is unlocked at tier 60, and as you can see, it's progressing through the various stages of the actual reactive camo. So the first thing you're going to want to do once you reach tier 60 and unlock this reactive camo, you're going to want to make sure you set up a VAPR class setup, equip this reactive camo, and then go ahead and get the 50 kills. Because like all the other reactive camos that are in the game, you have to unwrap them before you can use them on other weapons. So obviously, however long that takes, it really comes down to what mode you play and how many kills you get per match. For me, it took a couple matches in domination, didn't really sweat it out or nothing like that. You just get 50 kills, and you can see the strip reactive camo is unlocked. So once you've done that, you'll be able to see the various stages. So once you go ahead and click on the weapon, you can go ahead and press triangle or Y if you're on Xbox to see the details. The start of it was pretty plain. Then you get all this movement when you go to 5 kills. 10 kills, colors change up a little bit, and it continues to progress and change as you go through the 15, 20, 25, and 30, and it actually has a pretty big difference with the color pattern. I like the final one because you end up with that little bit of green, and green is actually a pretty cool color on the weapon. This one looks really nice. The blue and purplish pink looks really clean on the weapon. I think other weapons, I'll kind of have to find out which one is my favorite to put this one on. But overall, this has a pretty clean look on the VAPR XKG. So now we got the reactive camo stuff out of the way. Let's go ahead and jump into the actual best class setup for this weapon. And overall, the best class setup hasn't really changed because it got a buff, a significant buff. It increased the range of this weapon by 50% from about 35 meters up to about 50 meters, which is a huge jump in my opinion. So for the class setup, I'm running the Elo sight, a suppressor, rapid fire, and stock. I know a lot of people like double stock for this weapon, and I've tried it out in the past. You can easily drop that suppressor for double stock, but it really comes down to your preference. As far as the actual gear, you can see I'm running that ComSec device. If you want to play a little bit more aggressive, you can definitely go with that stim shot. And when it comes to the perks, I'm running Tactical Mask, Gung Ho, and Dead Silence. So this is the point of the video where I actually transition to a gameplay breakdown. I know a lot of times people just click on a video, they get the best class setup, and they leave. And then they don't actually do well in matches. Maybe if they're a good player, they do well. But more often than not, they just go ahead and get the class setup and then they leave. And unfortunately, they miss out on a lot of information because a lot of other YouTubers have kind of catered to that formula where they just give you a best class setup. They don't explain why it's the best class setup. They don't explain how to use that class setup. They just kind of run through a match, dominate the lobby. It's super easy lobby. And they don't even give you any kind of background on what's going on in the actual match. And that's no hate on those other YouTubers because their whole purpose in making their content is just to entertain, maybe not necessarily inform, which is a significant difference than what I'm trying to do. Obviously, if you're entertained by my content, great. But the overall goal is to help players get better and improve over time. And I'll point out that today's gameplay is very different than what you're used to seeing on the channel. Normally, I'll play solo or with one other person and upload that gameplay because there's a lot of thought process involved when you play just by yourself or with one other person because you have to deal with those 3, 4, or 5 other randoms on your team when you're actually in a match. A common complaint I see in Call of Duty is the balancing of the teams. A lot of times people are complaining about their teammates when they play solo, and you guys will see it when I've streamed before. You guys can see me play. A lot of times I'm saying, why is this guy going 0-21? I'm not expecting anyone to be God tier on my team. I just don't want them to go 0-21. That's just kind of insane. You could stand in one place, just fire your weapon with a Titan, and odds are you'll probably go 3-11 because you're just going to sit and spawn the entire time. So when I do complain or vent my frustration in those moments, a lot of times people in the comments will say, well, why don't you just play in a party? At the end of the day, I don't really like playing in a party. I think it's one of the most boring things you can actually do. And the only exception of that is when you play in a full 5-man party against another 5-man party or a 6v6. And I know there's a bunch of people in the comment section that will not agree with me. They would love playing in parties. They won't play this game in any other way than playing in a party. Obviously, I add a little bit more frustration by playing in a party, but literally every time I have played in a full party with people that I actually know, we just slap the other lobby. It's not even close. Most of the time people are leaving. We're never at risk of actually losing the match. And you'll see this played out here. Look, we just take B whenever we want. Okay, we feel like, you know what, let's go ahead and take it. Let's just not let it sit there. And you know what, we're leaving them to see. Whenever at the end we decide to triple cap, we can just triple cap whenever we want. That's how these modes go. Everyone knows where the spawns are. We're not necessarily spawn trapping. We're kind of rotating back and forth and controlling the map. And to me, that is not a fun way to play the game. It's just kind of going through the motions, getting XP, going on longest streaks, inflating your stats. I think literally I played about 10 matches with this group of friends and teammates that I have part of Karnage, and we literally stomped the other lobby every single time. I think I had probably a 10 to 15 KD the entire time. In this match, you're going to see me go 64-1. I played as smart as possible. There was sometimes antis in the lobby, which you tend to run into, but overall, it ends up being an easier lobby because sweaty players decide to leave. So if you want to boost your stats, go for it. I remember playing in previous Call of Duties when you could see other people's KD in the lobby, and you'd kind of see, oh man, this dude has a 4 KD, a 5 KD, a 6 KD. All I would think to myself, even though I only had like a 2 KD at that time, I would just think, man, can't wait till this guy leaves the lobby, because inevitably they always do. Because if you actually play smart and you're a decent player, when you come head to head with really good players, they tend to leave unless they're actually a really good player. This guy typically played in a party, camped for his KD, and then ends up leaving the match 9 times out of 10. Very seldom do you actually get in a lobby where a guy is a very good player. They aim down sight quicker than you, they snap onto targets, they have very good accuracy, they position themselves well on the map, they get their streaks, and they dominate. Those are very few players that you'll ever run into. You play very smart and you're a good player, you're going to be better than about 88-90% of the player base, because most people just kind of go around wandering, do whatever they do, or they play in a full party and they actually hide some of their deficiencies. So I know that was a little long-winded and I got to get back to the actual weapon, but the whole point of that was just to point out that a lot of times the stats are irrelevant. You know how good you are when you jump in a lobby. 9 times out of 10, I am the best player in the lobby, and that's not ego or cockiness. That is just generally what happens. If I join into a regular match, I am generally better than the other 9 or 11 players that are in that actual match. Definitely better than everyone on my team, because everyone on my team, they don't seem to be able to shoot straight. There's usually 1 or 2 players on the other team, at least to my skill level, maybe slightly better, sometimes slightly worse, but that's just how the game works out. But 9 times out of 10, I am better than 9 out of 11 players in the lobby. And that's always been my goal, is not necessarily have a 3 or 5 KD, because if I wanted 3 or 5 KD, I would just do the things necessary to get that 3 or 5 KD, which usually involve playing slower, camping for streaks, and all that type of nonsense. But overall, that's not my goal. My goal is to be the #1 player in the lobby in every single lobby. And if that's your goal, that's what you should focus on. Just get better as a player. Increase that score per minute, increase the accuracy, map awareness, positioning, among all the other things that you can actually improve as a Call of Duty player, instead of just spawning in, running around randomly, and not necessarily improving. So when it comes to this weapon, the things that I want to focus on are that you can actually use it at multiple ranges now. The accuracy gets a little tough at some of those further ranges just because it's hard to hit all those shots, but if you're very accurate, you're going to be good with this weapon. The suppressor is amazing to be able to flank players. A lot of times it depends on the map, but a majority of the time, if you're a very smart player, you know how to position yourself, you can tell where enemies are, you know where your teammates are, you can get a lot of flanks, and the suppressor is definitely the way to go, especially since you close the gap. Generally, you're not going to have a penalty for running that suppressor. A lot of times I'll get comments and saying, hey, you're stupid for running a suppressor, it doesn't even do much. Well, you're probably not using it right. You guys that have been following the channel since World War II, you know that the suppressor can probably be one of the best attachments in the entire game when you're actually a smart player and know how to use it. So as you can see, we're playing slums, and on slums it's pretty straightforward. You kind of lock down this middle area, you're going to have good control of the map. People pop out from predictable areas, especially if you know where your teammates are, you're going to stay in control of the match. You can see that there's people in the enemy spawns on both sides, kind of manipulating those areas. I take out all these people in the middle of the map, rotating out, trying to get to safety, end up getting killed. That's the first death I had, and that is the only death I have out of the entire match when I go 64-1. And the other thing you'll see in these types of matches when you play in a full party, which like I said I don't normally do, is that we're purposefully elongating the match. So we're letting them cap the objective. They actually have 2 different objectives. We're going to end up capping A right now, but in general we let them cap 2 objectives. We let them get ahead, because we know that we're going to dominate the lobby. We could just turn the switch whenever we want, and we automatically just take over and we take the lead. So right now we're double capping, controlling the map, and a lot of times other YouTubers that generally post pub stomping type of content, you're going to see them elongate every match they can. And that's pretty much the only way you're going to get 100 kills, 200 kills, 300 kills in a match. You have to elongate it. You're just adding on more time to the match. If they just cap, triple cap the entire match, win 200-0, the match would probably be over in 6 minutes, and most of them would probably have like 30 kills. So they elongate the match to make the stats look all inflated, don't fall for that stuff. If you want a very long match, playing a full party, and you just start off by letting the enemy team win the actual objectives, no one jump on the objectives, let them hold all of them, let them get a huge lead, and then you get a comeback because you can actually control the match. So pretty much all I'm doing right now is kind of rotating between spawns. I know that they're going to be spawning in this back area. This is the general spawn for this map, and then it's behind A. Then I rotate back around. I see a couple people here. Teammates in the middle of the map. I see if I can help them out. Take that guy out. Teammate ends up surviving. And now we got good control of the middle of the map. So I know this is nothing like my typical gameplay breakdown because obviously I'm playing in a party. I kind of want to talk about that honestly because personally, I think so many people post these gameplays playing in a full party, spawn trapping, and they actually enjoy that type of stuff. And I think there's a community that enjoys that. I'm not sure if you guys enjoy that type of stuff. Personally, it makes my job a lot easier. I don't have to worry about actually playing all that smart or improving at the game in any way. I can use whatever class setup. I can honestly run any pistol class setup, probably no attachments, and I'll probably still go 30-2 or something like that if I'm playing in a full party. So go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below, what do you actually prefer? Do you prefer when I play in a 5 or 6 man party and I can make any weapon look overpowered? Or would you actually like to learn something from the gameplay? That's obviously a more rhetorical question, but at the end of the day, hopefully you guys did enjoy the content. If you did, please remember to hit that like button. If you're brand new to the channel, typically cover Call of Duty content related to news, in-game updates, best class setups, subscriber breakdowns, as well as other tip and trick videos on how to improve at Call of Duty. So if you like that content, made it to this video, or you're part of that 68% that hasn't yet subscribed, just hit that subscribe button with notifications on so you can find your way back to the channel. Appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for watching. As always, have a great day.